What's up, YouTube? Capital G here. Well, it was fun while it lasted, right, guys? I mean, we got one good full week of Yu-Gi-Oh! Action where the format wasn't a complete cesspool and just a degenerate pile of garbage, but looks like that's all going out the window. I was really excited about this format, man. We had Flames of Destruction, Dark Sabers, new sets that were coming out, new archetypes being injected into our meta like the Sky Strikers, some old favorites that were getting pumped up and full powered because of cards from Flames of Destructions. I'm looking at Altergeist and, something like Goki, NAWCQ, and yeah, we might as well just go ahead and flush it all down the toilet because I swear to goodness, we can't go a week without some new degenerate FTK rearing its head and yeah, just maybe destroying the TCG. We got a couple of them to talk about, and if you guys were thinking what I'm thinking, why does the Yu-Gi-Oh! Community talk ad nauseum so much about how they hate FTKs, and then as soon as Konami actually makes an effort to remove some of the FTKs, not a perfect effort, but an effort, a legitimate effort to get rid of some of the FTKs out of the game, seems like a couple of players are just like, nah man, let's keep playing them FTKs, let's think of some new ones, because that is exactly what is just taking place. You guys know that with the recent ban list, Konami did actually try to tackle some FTKs, and even better on them, they actually went after something, some of the ones that weren't even here. They banned the plant FTK that I don't know when we're gonna get Aromatherapy Jasmine, but that obviously would have been not very fun to deal with. They went ahead, they hit Gem Knights, and if you would have ever told me that they were going to hit a Gem Knight and its name wasn't going to be Lapis Lazuli or Seraphronite, I would have told you you're crazy. And then obviously they hit the Pendulum FTK, and one of the big problems with like the ways that FTKs are evolving is, and you see right here, this is a 2-card Goki FTK, and then you have another version, which I guess this guy, he actually says it at the beginning, he was like, I wasn't going to put this video out, but when the Goki guy put his video out, I was not going to be outflexed, man. I'm going to show him that yeah, he ain't the only one in town playing these FTKs. It almost seems like what's wrong with FTKs now is the fact that even if you don't pull off the FTK, you're still basically playing like a tier 1 deck. And the thing about FTKs, and I've talked about this in other videos, right? I said that it technically is an unsolvable problem in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because of how Yu-Gi-Oh! Works and the fact that it's not like Magic. Magic has like mana and stuff like that, and most card games have like resources, but in Yu-Gi-Oh! You can kind of do everything that you want turn 1. So even if Konami did something super drastic, which I think might actually be on the table after the end of this era, something like where you can't do effect damage in turn 0, that would actually kill a lot of these burn FTKs. But even if something like that was to actually take place, you would still have decks like Exodia, FTKs involving like mill decks and stuff like that, so they would still be pretty obscure. But the thing is, I'm pretty fine if you're playing one of those low tier for like FTKs, right? If you're playing like Exodia, or if you're playing like some, I don't know, crazy Needleworm FTK where you have to flip Needleworm over 15 times and deck me out, I'm fine with that because your deck generally has absolutely no backup plan. If your FTK doesn't go off, or if I have like an impermanence, if I have like one card to stop you, generally your deck is not going to be able to win turn 1. And you don't have a legitimate win condition because your deck is not really equipped to actually like play any type of a grind game. You generally don't run like spell and trap removal, any defensive cards, so you're not really equipped to play out the long haul. But with these decks, the ones like Pendulum FTK, and why I was so glad Konami took care of that deck immediately, and potentially like this Goki deck where this guy is really not running that many cards that you don't see traditionally in Goki. Like, this is basically a, okay, how can we get Cannon Soldier and Firewall Dragon into a play cap, G, because we've never seen that before. But I mean, basically, if you're just playing like something like Cannon Soldier, what are you really adding into Goki that's going to like make your deck so much different than a traditional build of Goki? It seems like to take some of these regular standard decks and make them into FTK decks, you only have to really adjust your deck a couple of cards, and let's just say that you don't actually pull off the FTK, you can still do the ridiculous plays that Goki are already known for, which is like a 2-card extra link where maybe you have like a couple of negations or some type of defensive cards like a Tri-Gate Wizard, something of that sort. And the thing is, I was looking at this format and I was looking at some of the top decks and I was thinking, man, it's going to be really rough to, be able to duel against Goki. I know that they can extra link with just a couple of cards. I know playing against the Sky Strikers is going to be really difficult for Ftks guys because of how much searching they can do and how much advantage that they can make in their first turn. And I was like, man, I guess I'm going to have to play, I'm going to have to play like I sold and Kagari and my extra deck with cherries, and maybe I'll throw in some Wayne Dragon Raw Spear modes for going second. But if going second means that you just like automatically lose the game, who actually wants to play in that format? Like, seriously, man. And I don't know what more Konami can do. Well, actually, I mean, we can, I guess, talk about the elephant in the room that is Firewall Dragon. I don't know why Konami is so hesitant. It seemingly in the OCG and in the TCG. You look at this FTK, you don't even need for it to be explained. You know that Firewall Dragon is going to pop up at some point. Even Jerome McHale, who works for R&D, you know that clip where he's like, an OTK with Firewall Dragon? What a shock. At some point, Firewall Dragon appears in basically all FTKs. I wonder why Konami seems to be so hesitant to just outright ban this card in the TCG and the OCG, where they're basically just, it seems like, come hell or high water, this card is not going to be forbidden. We've seen things from Grand Soil and all these other random ass hits. It's just to kind of keep this card alive. And I'm not saying that like all of these FTKs would be taken out by Firewall Dragon, but I said it before, Firewall Dragon has pretty much lost all of its practical applications in Yu-Gi-Oh! There are other cards like Cannon Soldier that I guess, maybe in a weird way they could actually like go after, or they could errata them into like once per turns, but those cards actually do have some uses, and they were played in like burn decks that were not FTKs. But I look at Firewall Dragon and it's mainly just an FTK card. I kind of feel the same way about Summon Sorceress and some of the other new Link monsters that have been revealed. But I just wanted to let you guys know, not only is there a new Goki 2-card FTK, but yeah, this guy was like, I cap G, I will not be outdone, and he is basically he revived the Infernity FTK. No Astrograph Sorcerer, no problem. I mean, this is very similar to the old one that used to run the Zodiac cards. I mean, basically you're just trying to create almost the same exact condition as this deck. The only difference is you're using like pendulum cards to pendulum summon your Infernity Archfiend, which gets you your Infernity Necromancers, and then basically you're trying to get Amazoness Archfiend on the field. And no, wait, Amazoness Archer, I'm sorry, Amazoness Archfiend is not a real card. Amazoness Archer, and it's basically the same exact thing. But man, I'm just kind of frustrated, and honestly, this is just my 2 cents. If I was looking towards going to a competitive event, I'm not sure that I'd be particularly thrilled. Or if you were going to like YCS Jersey or something like that, I wouldn't be particularly thrilled that these FTKs are popping up right before this event, because hell, I'm a Yu-Gi tuber, and honestly, before I actually saw this video, I had no idea that this was even like a thing. But I actually have no doubt that people will play these at high-level premier events, whether it be YCS Jersey or the 200th YCS, maybe Euros or NAWCQ. And I think that's really unfortunate, because it was looking like we were going to have a format devoid of cancer, or at least, every Yu-Gi-Oh! Format has some level of cancer, but at least the cancer that gives you an opportunity to play for a turn. Maybe the Infernity one might not see that much play because it is a 3-card FTK as opposed to this one, which is just 2 cards. And with this Infernity deck, especially if you're going second, you are kind of playing like this gimmicky pendulum deck, and I think that it's pretty much only constructed to be able to pull off this OTK. I know that he did say that you can make some other plays with like Abyss Dweller and stuff if you were playing like against Goki and you didn't have the FTK, but generally speaking, like we've already seen Goki, win multiple regionals and do extremely well. Goki has already sold itself as a high-level tier 1 deck. Some people believe that Goki right now is the strongest deck in the game, so if you only have to make a couple of adjustments and you can go first and just win the duel outright, it's like, why wouldn't you? It's the reason why so many people opted to run the Pendulum Edition FTK deck instead of just pure Pendulums last format, because it's like I have the option of playing normal pendulums, but then I also have the option of just FTKing you and just winning the duel without having to give you a turn, and it's like, obviously that's better. And in some weird way, I actually want these decks to kind of be successful, because they're like, when they're not really doing that well, it kind of is, it's this no-win situation for if you go to an event, right? Because if the deck ends up like not making the top 32, a couple players end up bubbling, that deck can still kind of fuck up your weekend, and you might still have to play against against it for the next couple of weeks, or hell, maybe even like couple of formats, and that kind of sucks because there's always that one jerk who wants to play it. But if the deck actually tops, then it's like Konami can't really ignore it anymore, and then it becomes like it's on their radar and they're actually paying attention to it, and then they have to automatically hit it. Like, would you guys, I mean, how crazy would it be if like an FTK actually was in the finals of a YCS? Now that hasn't happened in quite some time, but if this deck actually ended up being in like the finals, then that could be something where it's like, all right, this is just this is too much cancer even for us. We're gonna have, you know, either an emergency ban list, or you guys can definitely expect some of these cards to end up getting hit on our next Forbidden and Limited list. And I really am just, man, I'm at my wit's end with Firewall Dragon. I feel like they got to get that card out of the game or something else, man. Maybe Master Rule 5 has got to be no effect damage turn 1, something like that. You guys let me know, are you sick of FTKs? I really thought that we were done with them for a little bit of time, but then nah, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh community, some people are like, nope, Cap, I'd rather see the world burn and see you guys burn too. And you know what, I'm glad I'm not going to Nationals. I ain't gotta worry about this. I'm just gonna be on my stream playing, you know, fucking Galaxy and Altergeist and not having to worry about, oops, went second, didn't open up with impermanence, guess you basically lose the duel. Anyways, let me know what you guys think of this new cancer in the comment section below. I'll have both of these linked in the description of the video so you guys can actually see them, see how they operate in case you happen to need to duel against them. I mean, now I think maybe we might have to add Firewall Dragon to like the Cherries targets. It wasn't in, when I talked about Cherries as a discussion, it wasn't really something that was on my radar, but in my defense, I didn't really know about these FTKs. So yeah, maybe Firewall Dragon is now a Cherries target against these degenerate decks. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already. Turn on that notification bell for daily videos.